Owning a home or condo in Breckenridge, Colorado is a dream for many buyers. But before you sign on the dotted line, here's what I wish every client knew about owning here. Let's first talk about some of the pros of buying here in Breckenridge. First of all, it is one of the best ski resorts, not only in the United States and Colorado, but internationally as well. We host events such as the International Snow Competition in January. We have Ulerfest, we have art festivals. There is so much to do here above and beyond skiing, biking, hiking, river rafting, and all of the fun outdoor activities that people come here to enjoy. So another pro of living here, aside from the lifestyle, is the appreciation. Year over year, Breckenridge, being one of the most famous places to own, is a place of appreciation. So that condo or home that you bought a few years ago, year over year is worth more than the previous year. So one of the things that goes right along with appreciation is resale value. So again, whatever you purchased it for previously, it is going to be worth more year over year. Another positive of Breckenridge is our main street. There are so many ski towns, such as Copper Mountain, which is nearby, and we love Copper Mountain, but it doesn't really have a historic main street. So our main street is roughly a mile long with a lot of restaurants, shops, really unique different places that you can explore. And adjacent to it is our river walk area. Really fun to walk along the river walk area, and in the summer you can even sit on some of the large boulders and enjoy a nice picnic. Another positive of buying here in Breckenridge has to be the rental potential. I used to own a large property management company that I built from the ground up, but I did sell it a few years ago. And I used to get asked all the time, how many nights per year can I expect to see rentals? And I also was asked, how much per night will a certain home or condo demand? Well, it's not quite that simple. Why? Because there are times of year like Christmas that are extremely popular where the rental rate per night is at a premium. And then there's other times such as May where the rental rate will be significantly less. However, on average, you can expect to see maybe 150 nights that a home would be rented. And as far as that price per night, as I already mentioned, it is seasonal, and of course it depends on location. Are you ski in, ski out? Are you close to the slopes? It also depends on the amenities. If you are in a resort that has pools, hot tubs, exercise facilities, certain resorts here, such as One Ski Hill Place, has a bowling alley. So all of these things factor into the nightly rental rate. We already went over a few of the reasons why people buy here in Breckenridge. The thing I hear over and over again from the majority of my buyers is that they want to use their place a couple of weeks a year. Sometimes people do stay for an entire season, maybe 3 months or so, especially if they're escaping places like Texas and their heat of the summer. But what I hear is most of the time people want to use the place for a couple of weeks a year and then rent it to help offset cost. But there are a lot of things to consider with respect to owning here. One of the first things you need to consider are HOA fees. Now, an HOA can be your best friend. Why? Because you don't have to worry about hiring someone to maintain the hot tubs, someone to do snow removal off of your roof or off of the driveway. So the HOAs really can offer a lot of benefits, but they can have a high fee associated with them. Every HOA is different, but generally when it comes to a condo, they are covering things such as potentially your heat. They're almost always covering things like the elevator maintenance, pool, hot tubs, the common areas, and certainly insurance for the resort. You will need to consider, that's another cost, how much will it cost for you to insure not only the contents of your unit, but if you had to rebuild from the walls in. So we talked about the HOA fees. Well, now let's talk about home fees. If you own a single family home, then you need to consider maintenance cost. Sure, you may not have an HOA, or your HOA fees might be very small, $50 to maybe $200 a year. However, you now have maintenance costs that you are going to be responsible for. Here are just a few. One is snow removal, and not only snow removal for your driveway, but also you may need to pay a separate person to remove snow from decks, entryways, sidewalks, things like that, so that you can actually access your home. Another thing is you may need to either pay for heat tape, which can be expensive. There's a lot of snow out here, and heat tape is put on your roof to melt the snow, but you also may need to pay for snow removal in addition to the heat tape, depending on how your roof is laid out, to have people remove snow from the roof. Other maintenance costs can include hot tubs. So if you are a second homeowner and live either not in Breckenridge or out of state, then you will need to pay someone to maintain your hot tub. There are other costs like trash removal. So that's an additional cost that if you owned in a separate area, an HOA likely would cover. So these are just a few of the additional considerations you'll want to think about when owning here. Now let's talk about short-term rental regulations. A few years ago, Breckenridge implemented short-term rental regulations. One question I get asked a lot is, can a current license be transferred to a new owner? And the answer is no. Depending on where you're at in Breckenridge, there are 4 zones. So there's resort zone, and then zones 1, 2, and 3. All of them have different rules as far as how many people can get a new short-term rental license. So if you do want to consider short-term renting your place, you will need to consider exactly where that condo or home is located. For the most part, anything that is ski in, ski out will be able to get a new short-term rental license, since it will likely be in the resort zone. Most homes, again, this is most, I'm being very general here, are going to be in zone 3. Long story short, only 10% of homes can get a new short-term rental license in zone 3. So I wouldn't count on getting a short-term rental license. However, almost all places will allow you to rent for 30 or more days. So in theory, you could have 12 30-day rentals in a place. Another thing you do need to consider is if there are any HOA regulations forbidding short-term rental regulations. So for the most part, almost any place will allow you to either short-term rent or long-term rent, but I do need you aware that you need to consider the HOA regulations as well. So let's talk about the different locations in Breckenridge. All of them offer some perks. So let's talk first about ski in, ski out locations. Mainly you're going to find that on peak 7, 8, or 9. There are a few homes on peak 10 where you can ski in and ski out if you're an advanced skier, but mostly where you're going to see the lifts are on peak 7, 8, and 9 for your ski in, ski out locations. Now, of course, the condos up here are more per square foot, and there are a few homes that are in this area as well. Of course, if we think of certain neighborhoods like Timber Trail, you're going to pay for that convenience. We have a home listed now for nearly $20 million on the market. So if you have deep pockets, this could be the perfect neighborhood for you. Another neighborhood to consider is Shock Hill. It could be a wonderful option for you. It is on the first stop on the gondola, and it will take you all the way up to either peak 7 or peak 8. Now, it also commands a lot per square foot, so there are some beautiful duplexes as well as homes. Now, the duplexes are going to be around $4 million up to $5 million, and the homes can go quite a bit north from there into double digits, 10 million, 12 million. I've seen them all the way up to 15 or so million. But this can be a great option for you, and it's also easy to get to downtown. Now let's talk about peak 7 for a moment. Peak 7 can be hit or miss when it comes to homes. There are some beautiful homes that you may want to consider, and there's also Barton Creek that runs through different areas of Peak 7. And then there are some homes that, well, they may need a little more TLC, but that might be a great opportunity for you to get a home at a lower price per square foot and maybe put in some renovation time. Now, there's also Crystal Peak Lodge, which is on your second stop on the gondola. And that is a ski in, ski out resort, which is fantastic. So those are some options for you. Now, if we go elsewhere in Breckenridge, let's go ahead and go south. Well, in South Breckenridge, you keep going down Main Street, which is basically Highway 9, and the snow conditions can get pretty intense quickly as we go deeper down Highway 9. And that actually goes into an area called Blue River. And there are sections of Blue River where you can get a short-term rental license as a new owner. So that might be an area for you to consider. Now let's go east for a moment. There's multiple areas when we go east of Breckenridge. So there's an area as we go up Baldy, and there are stunning views up there. The thing is, it can take a little while to take the shuttle. There is the Breckenridge free ride shuttle, so it can take a little bit of time to come down that mountain and get to where you want to ski, but still a great option to consider. Then there are other areas like Gold Flake Terrace. That road is amazing, and the homes, well, they go for a lot per square foot there. Also east is the Historic District in Breckenridge, right there by downtown. And these are more Victorian historic homes. Some have been really cutely remodeled. And so, you know, Historic District could also be an option for you. And there's other places on French Street, which runs parallel to Main Street up from Ridge. So it goes Main, Ridge, then French Street. So there's some great options for you. Now, as we go the other direction towards Frisco, there is North Breckenridge, and my favorite area is the Highlands at Breckenridge. It is right by the Jack Nicklaus Golf Course, and there are beautiful homes over there, a few duplexes as well, but a little bit more affordable in that area. Still, we're going to spend a few million on that perfect home for you. But for all of the information, please feel free to reach out. You can even comment below. Just comment more info, and I'll be sure to send you everything that you could want as far as the vacation home buyer's guide, so that you are armed and better prepared. And of course, you can always reach out to me as well, and I will send you as much information as you need. So we've already covered a lot of the pros and cons about buying here in Breckenridge, Colorado. The number one reason is because it is Breckenridge. It is stunning. We love it here. Yes, we love all of the snow that we get. We love the small town feel, and we don't even mind the crowds because we know that the lifestyle Breckenridge affords, it is worth it. That said, when you do come to Breckenridge and are considering buying anywhere, you know what they say: location, location, location. It is everything. And it's not only location, but it is also your amenities. It is also how upgraded a unit or home is. All of these things factor into your decision and all of the cost that you're going to want to consider when owning here.